If you can't keep a woman around, there's probably a couple things you're doing that are causing it. And so let's talk about it, because a lot of guys in the comments are like, I can't keep a woman longer than a couple dates, and I want to sustain and I want to have a girlfriend. I want to have a good time with one woman for a longer period of time. So let's talk about why this might be happening to you, okay? We have to look at every stage of the funnel. The beginning stage is, who is this girl? You might be picking and not properly vetting women the right way. And so what happens is, you're going after maybe superficial women. Maybe you're going after women that don't really like you all that much, and you're forcing them, like you're applying a lot of pressure for them to hang out with you. And so you can't sustain that. You also can't sustain somebody that is using you for food or experiences. So the type of woman you go out with determines a lot of the success in terms of retaining her. Because you could have started without even having a chance. Do you understand? You could start dating a girl that literally you have zero chance of retaining. Because she's using you, because you're just trying to wear her down. She's not that into you. She's not that attracted to you. There's so many reasons. And so vetting who you're going out with is so important. It sets the stage for everything else to come. If you're wearing a girl down and she's not that into you, and you come to me after the third date, you're like, she's pulling away, she's not talking to me. It's like, bro, duh. This has been her behavior the entire time, and you're just choosing not to see it. So we have to look at every side and every step of the way. And it starts with who you're picking. You want to go out with women that are high interest. You want to go out with women that easily make it, that are easily accessible, can easily make plans with. They text you. They follow up with you. They don't care what you do. They don't have demands around where you go. They don't demand you pick them up. They don't demand anything. You want somebody that's high interest. When somebody's high interest, it's very easy to retain them and keeping them engaged. Obviously, of course, you still need to follow certain behaviors, which we're going to get into in this video. But when you start, look for women that's high interest. Maybe you're so concerned, your ego is so concerned with finding girls that are really, really hot, but they're not that into you. And maybe you need to go for the sevens. There's nothing wrong with a 7 that loves you, man. Like, a 7 or a 6 that loves you arguably is better than a 10 that is like this crazy stallion you gotta wrangle in. And so selection of women is very important. I would look at potentially going a little bit less in the look scale for somebody that's more high interested in you, because it's just going to make your job easier. You're going to avoid a lot of the games, and things are going to be smoother. You still have to play the game, so we're going to talk about it. But the women you pick to go out with determines a lot of your success in terms of retaining them. Some girls are just party girls, right? Like, some girls are very opportunistic. Some girls only want the DJ booth, and they only want this, and they only want that. And so unless you're doing that lifestyle all the time, they're not going to care. They're going to be bored. They're not going to care. I don't think you should date those girls anyways, to be fair. But this is why it's important to know what you're looking for, to stick with it, and to go with medium to high interest women. Avoid low interest women. Yes, it's a form of interest. Yes, you could get them on a date, but how likely are they to stick around? Even if you play all your cards right. Less likely. Now, let's say you're with a medium. Let's say you have been dating medium to high interest women and you still can't retain them. Okay. There's some things we should be doing, and there's some things we definitely should not be doing. Let's talk about what we shouldn't be doing. Okay. You should not be texting consistently. You should not be predictable. You should not be changing your schedule. You shouldn't be rescheduling with her ever. I have a golden rule. This is a harsh rule. Okay. This is a very based rule. And I only suggest adopting this rule if you have a large level of abundance. If you don't be this harsh. I have a no reschedule rule. 0. Okay. I made one exception one time because this girl hit me back again and proved she was sick with screenshots and messages from her doctor. And then I was like, all right, fine. I'll go out with you. I have a no reschedule rule. And that may be too drastic for you depending on your options. But the point of tolerating high standards still stands. So maybe you just have a 1 reschedule rule. A 1 reschedule rule. And here's my rule of thumb with rescheduling, because I see this happen so much. Guys get rescheduled on 5 times. They finally made plans with the girl eventually when she's just so bored and so hungry. She says yes. That's too low interest. And so if she wants to reschedule, she needs to show the initiative to tell you when she's going to be free next and to set it up. If she just says, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't tonight, and says nothing other than that, I say cut your losses and move on. Now, that is going to show her that you have a higher standard for yourself. If you're constantly rescheduling, she's not going to give a shit to see you again. She's not going to give a shit. If you're texting all the time and you're so predictable and you're so boring, that gets old so fast. I'm going to say this a million times. Women are emotional creatures. They're meant to follow. If we're chasing them, they can't follow us. It doesn't make any sense. So we need to be a little bit unpredictable with our texting, with our plans. We also need to be spicing things up in terms of where we're going. Now, don't go crazy. I'm not saying spend a ton of money. I'm not saying roll out the red carpet, because you don't have to do any of that shit. It's really about the connection you two have. But we don't want to be doing like, let's go here again. Let's go here again. Mix it up a little bit. Okay. Some variety is good. They want this, remember? So if you text them typically around noon, don't talk to them for 2 days. Don't do it. Don't talk to them for a day at least. And then come back and be like, hey, I want to see them. Your texting should be very intentional. Your texting should be really based around you making plans to see them again, setting the date, saying, okay, that's it. The more you text, the less they like you. The more they text, the more predictable, the more boring, the more dry. So keep things light, keep things fresh. Don't text that much. I would also say in between the dates, right? Like let's say it's been a month. You've seen her once a week. I would recommend keeping your options still open. Oh, man, this hits close to heart, because years ago, I would find a girl I liked and I would stop pursuing other women. I don't know why, I just would. It hurt me every time. They know on a biological level when you have options and when you don't have options. They love you more when you have options. Again, none of this stuff makes sense, right? But it's the truth. Never, ever, ever lose your other options. Always, always, always go out with other women. Always. Until it's like firmly monogamous if you want to be monogamous. Always go out with other women. Never cut off because you're going to be too emotionally vested, man. Like if you find a girl you like, you go out with her a couple times and you're really emotionally invested, you're going to start to make mistakes. You're going to start to care too much. You're going to start to be unattractive because of your emotional state. When you are still going out and seeing other women, it keeps you balanced. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's a big mistake a lot of guys make. Even if you don't have a ton of options, doesn't matter. Keep shooting shots. Keep shooting shots. And if she finds out, good. She should know. Honestly, she'll be more into you. And I've said this in different ways in different videos, but it's important. The more you date her, right? The more you're going to like her, the more you're going to want to retain her. But you can't act as if you want to retain her. And I know this doesn't make any sense, but you can't then go into a state or a behavior of becoming agreeable, saying yes to a lot of things, losing your opinions, losing who you are. You retain her by not wanting to retain her. Okay? You retain her by behaving like you have many options. You retain her by detaching. You retain her by not caring. You retain her by leading her. When you act like you want to retain her, she runs. And I hate that this is reality, but it is. And so you need to work on detaching. You need to work on more options. You need to get busier. You need more variety. You need to text her less. You need to be more unpredictable. You need to be a little bit more reckless. That's what retains, because they want excitement. And so ask yourself, with your behavior, with your texting, with your tonality, with how you treat her, is this boring or is this exciting? If it's boring, you have to cut that shit immediately. If it's exciting, you keep doing it. I would also throw in like a double date. Spice things up. Bring your friends in. Like get people involved. Variety, excitement. That's the rule of thumb with this. As you continue to progress, and by the way, you can never be the one to bring up the conversation about relationships or dating. Ever, ever, ever. Don't bring it up. The only time is when you're like, all right, you can be my girlfriend. You can, right? It's an honor. But you never want to bring that shit up, right? If you get the third date, you start talking about, bro, she's gone. Bye. And so these little things, these little conversation pieces and mistakes that you might be doing on the dates might be the reason she never talks to you again. So you got to sharpen up, right? Things to do, things not to do, things to say, things not to say. Don't bring up families. Don't bring up any of this shit, okay, until it's like 4, 5, 6 months in. Going too fast and pursuing her is like the number one reason guys don't retain. The number one reason. And I just said, if you want to retain her, act like you don't care. If you want to retain her, detach. If you want to retain her, just treat her like normal and keep things exciting. If you go too fast and you're boring, she is gone. She's out of there. Those are the best principles. Stay based.